So quickly, before we start, we are going on vacation, like actually on vacation, and we're going to be taking a week off next week.
Which means you're getting a vacation episode! Woo! Because we're about to live everything we're about to describe.
We are doing a plane, there'll be a train, at some point there'll be an automobile, and then we're going skiing, if we make it.
So if you've ever gone on vacation with kids and thought, why is everyone worse behaved than they are at home?
Or, I paid money for this stress?
This episode is for you.
So let's just get right into it. Welcome to the Rolin Forward podcast.
I'm Dr. Alicia Rolin.
I'm Dr. Stephanie Rolin.
I'm a pediatrician.
I'm a psychiatrist.
We are clinicians and researchers and now podcasters.
And we're looking forward to bringing you this vacation-themed episode. So let's get right to it.
Forward, Dr. Sister Science Facts.
So here's the headline. Before there were kids, vacation, it seemed like a break, right? A break for adults.
There's the swim-up mini bar,
Oh my gosh,
the
you can
ocean.
order the burger while you're sitting in the pool and they bring it to you.
You can go skiing with the hot cocoa.
You're up at the top of the lodge enjoying the view. But now fast forward and you have kids and vacation no longer feels the same. It just doesn't.
So while vacation might be a break for adults, it definitely is not a break for kids' nervous systems.
And as baffling as that might seem at first, when we take a step back and think about the child development perspective, vacation is actually just the perfect storm, where we've got disrupted routines, unfamiliar environments, sleep schedules are often disrupted, food might be new and different and not exciting, people are definitely new, and then parents sometimes are really excited with high expectations that are hard to meet.
So if your kid melts down on day one, hour one of day one,
or before you even leave your house, it's happened. It's happened to someone who's podcasting right now.
That's not a failure of parenting, Stephanie.
Say it again, because I just need to hear it again. I know it intellectually, and yet I still need to hear it again.
It's not a failure of parenting. It's a predictable nervous system response.
And that's because the science tells us that kids regulate through predictability. They like to sleep in the same bed, have the same breakfast, go to school with the same teacher, and the same bedtime routine. And those routines, that predictability, helps them be regulated.
And when all of that disappears at once, kids really lose their external regulation scaffolding. Their brains don't think, wow, this is really exciting. They think, wait, what's happening?
And while that's true for kids of all ages, if you are currently parenting a toddler or a preschooler, you will really, really experience that. Because these kids, their prefrontal cortex, that part of the brain responsible for emotional regulation, is still really under construction. And they're relying on us to provide that scaffolding and that emotional regulation.
I feel like in the ski lodge, parents are always saying, I swear, they were really well behaved before we left. And that's true.
I remember mom saying that about you.
Thank you.
And the reason that is because before you left, they were at home in this stable, predictable environment. But now on vacation, you might be in that ski lodge. We might be in the ski lodge being like, what is happening? Because while that's happening, kids are managing sensory overload, often some kind of sleep debt. They're going to be hungry at weird times, especially if you've had a time change. I mean, unfamiliar bathrooms? That's scary to 3-year-olds. That's not their potty. And then parents who also are out of their normal rhythms. And together, this is just going to be a lower frustration tolerance.
And so what really looks like bad behavior is usually dysregulation rather than defiance. The brain is just super overwhelmed and running out of capacity to cope.
Well, your brain is as well, because you're also sleep deprived. You're also in a different bed. Maybe you've been traveling for 12 hours. You're tired.
And your kid is screaming.
So you're really tired.
And you're like embarrassed and apologizing to everybody on the airplane.
So let's add some science to this chaos. Because, when we're talking about planes, cars, skiing, vacation, basically, this is a lot of stress for kids.
And here's what's happening in kids' bodies during travel. The novelty of the experience is activating the stress system. Not the danger stress, but the arousal stress.
So when kids experience a lot of new inputs, maybe you're in the airport and there are these loud overhead announcements that seem to randomly come. And then there are crowds, and a stranger, also known as an airport employee, is touching your bag. And then there's an unfamiliar bed. Kids' bodies are releasing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline.
And these hormones aren't bad. They're adaptive. They help you stay alert. But they also reduce frustration tolerance, impair your emotional regulation, and make transitions really hard. And that can really explain why your children can lose their mind because their socks feel wrong at 30,000 feet.
It sounds very personal. And no matter how you're getting on vacation, it can be a stress. But air travel can be especially difficult because it combines three things that kids really don't like developmentally. A lack of control, because you got to get on the plane when it's time to get on the plane.
And you can't get up if they say that you can't get up.
Yeah, seatbelt signs on, seatbelt signs on.
You can't go pee-pee, even though your mom always tells you to tell her when you need to go pee-pee.
But then all of a sudden you're taking off and you said you have to pee and you can't get up. It's confusing. So there's this loss of control combined with a time pressure. You've got to be at the airport at a certain time. You've got to get through security. You've got to board at the right time. You've got to get on the plane and off the plane. There's really very little room for extras there. And meanwhile, you're also managing a sensory overload because there are so many things to see and hear, and sometimes taste or smell, definitely to smell at the airport.
Kids don't decide when to board or where to sit. Where to sit is a big one. Or when they can move their bodies. And from a developmental standpoint, that's a lot to ask, especially for young kids whose nervous systems are built for movement and predictability.
So when your child melts down in the airport, notice we say when, not if, that's not trauma. That's their nervous system saying, I am maxed out. And that's okay. And let's say, for example, a hypothetical situation here, you're taking that airplane to go skiing. Are you taking that airplane to go skiing?
I think fun, exercise, fresh air.
But kids think cold, heavy boots, strange equipments, long lines, and adults are yelling at me. It might be encouraging things, but they're yelling at me.
Skiing is actually a really high cognitive load activity for kids. They're managing balance, fear, coordination, constant instruction, and that really taxes executive function.
Which is why kids will often fall apart after skiing, not during it. So once the activity stops, you pick them up at the end of ski school, and their nervous system is finally ready to let go, and boom, meltdown in the lodge.
That's not manipulation, it's delayed processing.
And this also explains why you might see regression on vacation, as we're having this delayed processing of all of these experiences. You might experience more tantrums, more clinginess, sleep schedules just seem to just fall apart, more potty accidents, and then babyish behaviors from kids who you think should have just grown out of that.
Regression under stress is a really normal developmental response. Kids aren't losing skills, they're conserving energy. And once things stabilize back at home again with their normal routines, these skills usually come right back.
So, Alicia, knowing this, what can parents do? Tell me, what do I do knowing that we're about to leave? You're leaving with me, so this is what we got.
One of the hardest parts of vacation parenting is the mismatch of expectations. Adults are thinking, this is going to be relaxing. I'm going to be in the hot tub.
I paid money for this to be relaxing, specifically.
Kids think everything I know is gone. Poof.
That sounds really dark. It sounds like a dystopian nightmare. Everything I know is gone.
And parents feel the pressure to enjoy every single second that you paid for, to make memories, to get that perfect photo, to get the Christmas card photo, to justify the expense. And it makes it really hard to respond calmly when your kid is melting down and everything's falling apart because you have to get that perfect photo.
That feels dark. And it makes me think of that whole genre of vacation photos where parents are like, oh, look at this amazing view. And then their child is just crying in front of the Eiffel Tower or sobbing while in ski boots. And although we see the amazing view and the fun, from the kids' perspective, your explanation is making it clear to me that it feels like they've lost everything they know. And now they're cold, tired, and someone took all their snacks. So here's a gentle reframe if you find yourself in that position. If your kid is falling apart, it doesn't mean that the vacation is ruined. It just means that their nervous system is adjusting. This is normal, and they need a little bit of time and support until they can regulate themselves again.
And here are a few other things that do help, backed by the science about regulation.
Let me get out my pen and notepad. Take notes here.
1, keep at least one anchor routine. Sleep, snacks, connection time, just keep one.
For example, in the mornings, my daughter and I like to snuggle on the couch. So that's something that we can keep as an anchor during the vacation, where we do that every morning, no matter where we are.
2, this one's crucial, feed kids before they're hungry. Hunger really amplifies that stress response, and my niece becomes a hangry monster.
So it sounds like we need to go to Costco before we leave and stock up.
And their hunger can be on different times, especially with time changes, especially with new exertion and exercise like skiing. You could be hungrier earlier.
Check. Snacks we'll have.
3, build in decompression time. It's really important to make sure that there's downtime, things like quiet play or reading.
So Marvell loves those little people books right now. So I guess bringing a couple of them with us and making sure that we're making space every afternoon to be reading them together.
Everybody gets quiet time. It's a win for the adult and helpful for the child.
Quiet time is lovely.
4, expect emotional spillover after the fun. And that's when kids really start to process. So the meltdowns happen at the lodge after skiing's over.
So as a parent, it's being prepared for that emotional overwhelm at the end of the day when I go to pick her up at the ski lodge, and knowing that it's not a reflection on me, my parenting, or how much she's enjoying the vacation, but rather just a normal part of her cognitive development. And hopefully that will keep some of those automatic thoughts like, what are we doing here? Why did I choose to do this? That will help with that.
And this part's for parents.
Yes.
You don't have to optimize vacation for childhood memories. Kids don't need perfection.
And some of the most regulating moments for kids can be being comforted after a meltdown, or having a parent just say to them, that was hard, being able to be seen in that way, or watching adults themselves adapt and recover from a difficult moment. That's how resilience actually forms, is through hardship and through experience and through repair.
So, if you're traveling with kids and things feel harder than expected, you're not doing it wrong. You're not alone.
We're right there with you because you are parenting through transition. And that honestly is one of the hardest jobs that there is, to parent through all these changes.
That's why our parents would go on vacation without us.
And that's also why we're going to be taking a short break next week, because we will be parenting through transitions next week as we're on vacation.
In the meantime, lower expectations, pack snacks, and remember, vacation behavior is not on their report card.
Rolling forward, Dr. Sister Science Facts.
Thank you for joining us on the Rolling Forward podcast.
I'm Dr. Alicia Rolin.
I'm Dr. Stephanie Rolin.
You can hit us up on the socials.
Send us an email.
It's Rolin Forward Show. That's ROLIN forward show @gmail.com.
We'd love to hear from you. Rate us 5 stars, share a review, tell us what you like. And we'll be back after vacation, hopefully rested, but realistically, we're going to be tired. We're going to be tired? You're going to be tired? I want to be tired. I'm tired now, so I'm like, oh, I need a vacation, but I also know it's not exactly a vacation, so you're going to be tired.
With a newly minted 3-year-old.
Oh, gosh, we are in the threes, deep in the threes.
Deep in the threes.
Rolling forward, Dr. Sister Science Facts.
We're actually talking about your dog, not my toddler, somehow.
You know, when Ozzy said, She pee-peed on the floor. It was unclear if it was your daughter or my dog.
Both of them together.
Both of them together.